Hi, this is Mato. Welcome to my online chess lecture. This is a game from the round 6 of the World Chess Championship 2018. Magnus Carlsen had white pieces and he started with e4. Fabiano Caruana played e5. Knight to f3, knight to f6. The Russian defends. Knight takes on e5. d6. White to move. Instead of playing the standard move, knight to f3, Carlsen played knight to d3. Knight takes on e4, queen to e2, pinning the knight. Queen to e7, the only good move. Knight to f4, knight to c6, knight to d5, attacking the queen. What is the best square for the queen? What would you do? Caruana played knight to d4, attacking the white queen. If black queen moves to e6, then there is a family fork. Back to our game. Knight to d4, attacking white queen. What now? Carlsen played knight takes queen on e7. Let's take it back. What will happen if white wanted to keep queens on the board and to play not queen to d3 but queen to c4? This move has a tiny downside. What would you do? Please pause and find the best move for black. What did you find? The knight to c3, discovered check, sacrificing the queen. After knight takes on e7, knight takes on c2, checkmate. Back to our game. So we have knight takes queen on e7, knight takes on e2, knight to d5, threatening knight takes on c7, check, knight to d4. So if knight takes on c1, knight takes on c7, check, winning the rook. Knight to d4, threatening knight takes on c2, knight to a3, knight to e6, defending c7 pawn. White to move. Everybody expected another knight move. Just kidding. f3, attacking the knight. Knight from 4 to c5. d4, knight to d7, c3, c6, knight to f4, knight to b6. So in the first 14 moves, we have quite a lot of knight moves. Bishop to d3, d5, knight to c2, bishop to d6, knight takes on e6, bishop takes on e6, king to f2, h5, h4, knight to c8, knight to e3, knight to e7, g3, c5, bishop to c2, Caruana castle kingside, rook to d1, rook from f to d8, knight to g2, c takes on d4, c takes on d4. Rook from a to c8, bishop to b3, knight to c6, bishop to f4, knight to a5, rook from d to c1, bishop to b4. If knight takes on b3, then a takes on b3, after rook takes rook, rook takes rook. Black has a bishop pair and a better pawn structure, but may not be able to extract a win from this position. For example, a6, bishop takes on d6, rook takes on d6, knight to f4. Back to our game. Bishop to b4, bishop to d1, saving the bishop, knight to c4, attacking the pawn on b2, b3, knight to a3, rook takes rook, rook takes rook, rook to c1, knight to b5, rook takes on c8, bishop takes on c8, knight to e3, knight to c3, attacking the pawn on a2, bishop to c2, bishop to a3. If knight takes on a2, then knight takes on d5. So we have bishop to a3. How to save the pawn on a2? Carlsen played bishop to b8, a6, f4, bishop to d7, f5, making the pawn on h5 a target for the bishop. If knight takes on a2, bishop to c6, now threatening knight takes pawn on a2, bishop to d1, bishop to b2. Surely Caruana considered knight takes on a2. Instead, he played bishop to b2, bishop takes on h5, black to move. Knight to e4 check was played. Caruana also considered knight takes on a2, and after bishop to a7, knight to c3. Carlsen will probably play bishop to e2, preventing knight to b5, but then knight to e4 check. It seems that black stands slightly better. Back to our game, knight to e4 check, king to g2, bishop takes on d4, bishop to f4, bishop to c5. Black has a center pawn. There is a feeling that black is standing better. What do you think? Bishop to f3, knight to d2. Let's take it back. Pushing the pawn immediately doesn't work well for black. If d4, then knight to g4, f6, knight to f2, and white has no problems. Black is also advised not to take on f2, because after king takes on f2, and the black pawn on d4 looks very vulnerable. Back to our game. Knight to d2 was played, and we have reached another critical position of the game. White to move. Carlsen had to calculate complex variation. He picked a variation in which he gets 3 pawns for his sacrificed piece. And this variation starts with bishop takes on d5, bishop takes on e3, bishop takes on c6, bishop takes on f4, bishop takes on b7, bishop to d6, bishop takes on a6. Material is equal. White has 3 pawns for a piece. The game continued. Knight to e4, g4, bishop to a3, intending knight to c3, and knight takes pawn on a2. Bishop to c4, king to f8, g5, knight to c3, and now b4, giving up the b pawn in order to keep the a pawn. Bishop takes on b4, king to f3, knight to a4, bishop to b5, knight to c5, a4, f6, king to g4, knight to e4, king to h5, bishop to e1. So if king goes to g6, bishop takes pawn on h4. Bishop to d3, attacking the knight, knight to d6, white to move. If king goes to g6, like I said earlier, bishop takes on h4. In order to play king to g6, Carlsen sacrificed the pawn on the a file. a5, bishop takes on a5, g takes on f6, g takes on f6, king to g6, intending h5, and so on. Bishop to d8, defending the pawn on f6, king to h7, knight to f7, bishop to c4, knight to e5, bishop to d5, bishop to a5, h5, bishop to d2, bishop to a2, knight to f3, bishop to d5, knight to d4, king to g6, bishop to g5, bishop to c4, knight to f3, king to h7, knight to e5, bishop to b3, knight to g4, bishop to c4, knight to e3, bishop to d3, knight to g4, bishop to c4, knight to h6, king to g6. Black is in danger of repeating the moves. king to e7, bishop to b3, king to d6, bishop to c2, king to e5, bishop to d3, king to f4, bishop to c2, knight to g4, bishop to b3, knight to e3, h6, bishop takes pawn, and draw was agreed. In view of this continuation, king takes bishop, knight takes on f5, king to g6, king to e5, bishop to c2, knight to d4, bishop to b1, f5, bishop takes on f5, knight takes on f5. Insufficient material. What can we say about this game? Caruana was so close to victory this time, and the game was much more complex than what we have seen here in my presentation. Some people, with the help of a computer, found a complex way for black to win in the endgame, which Caruana could win. Of course, the engine didn't play against Carlsen. It was showing its own analysis. What do you think of this game? And that is all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I wish you good luck with your chess, and bye for now.